anything that's more big. You will never face anything that's too big for you to handle. Because I'm your God, and I know your limits, and I know how to provide a way out. If you're ever at that place of distraction from God, simply say these words: God gave me this distraction because He knows I'm stronger than it. That's okay. Give it back over to Him. I got to close this out because there are a couple last promises God gives you. The last blank here is endurance, because God guarantees your growth. Just look at what Jesus says in John 15. He says, I'm the vine, you're the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not remain in me, he's like a branch that's thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. But if you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish and it will be given you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. Let me just ask you this. Do you think God wants His glory to increase? Do you think He wants more and more people to recognize how great He is? I mean, would you? Would you like your fame to increase? Would you like your name to be more well known? God, the most glorious being in the universe, do you think He might want people to recognize that? I think the answer is yes. The Bible tells us repeatedly that God is after His own glory. And that's not a selfish thing. That's an honorable thing, because God is the most glorious thing in the universe. So therefore, it makes sense that He would want us to recognize it, because it is the best thing. But here you go. God's glory is going to increase. And one thing that brings Him greater glory is when your life produces fruit. Therefore, what do you think God wants to do? Does He want to make you downtrodden and nothing, or does He want to make you fruitful and productive? It's to His glory to give you what you need so that you grow and become everything He's designed you to be. It's a guarantee. He wants to do that for you. Just look at this next verse. Romans 8:28, it says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. A lot of people stop at that verse. They're like, wow, God's working for my good. I love God. God's working for my good. This is great. It's like God's on my team. I'm going to play basketball today, and when I win, I can say I won because God helped me, because He's on my team, because I prayed. And I prayed more than the people on the other team. And of course, God is really interested in making sure who wins the right football game or basketball game and stuff. No, you got to keep reading in order to find out what this is really all about. The good of those who love Him, who've been called according to His purpose, not your purpose. For those God foreknew, He also predestined to be conformed to the likeness of His Son. And we come full circle. God's purpose in your life is that you become more like Jesus. And then look at this. The last line, those He predestined, He also called. Those He called, He also justified. Those He justified, He also glorified. And all those words mean specific things, but here's the biggest thing. They're all past tense. Do you realize that when you gave your heart to Jesus, He had already determined, put His stamp down, signed the book, closed the case on you becoming awesome? On you being glorified into the likeness of Jesus. When you give your heart to Jesus, it's a past tense action that you have been glorified just like Jesus. Because God says, I've signed the book, I've made it happen, and now we're just going to play it out. It's like fixing the race. You know who's going to win at the end, but you still have to run the race anyway. God has fixed your life. He knows that He's going to bring about something amazing. You're going to be more and more like Jesus. You're going to love people. You're going to have patience. You're going to have kindness. You're going to experience success and fruitfulness in ways that you can't imagine, because they don't jive totally with our society. But it's going to happen. It's guaranteed, because God has stamped it. It's done. And all the circumstances of your life are just there because it's one more step along the path that's going to lead you to being more like Jesus. So, yeah, you have to take some initiative. You have to be disciplined. But just let me encourage you that God is at work in you to make it happen. Which one of these things kind of resonates with you more today? Are you in the place where you need to say, listen, I don't even know what Jesus is like and what my destination is. Spend some time reading and praying. Are you one of those people who says, I don't like to take initiative? What does that mean to my spiritual life? Well, I'll just tell you a couple things. Read the Bible. Start making financial commitments the way God would have you make them. And start spending some time with God's people. These are simple things, but take some initiative. Maybe you're in that place where you want to give up and you're not sure you have the discipline to keep going. Or maybe you're in the place where you say, listen, I've been trying for a long, long time, and I'm just not sure God really is going to bring this about the way He told me He was going to bring it about. And I just want to ask you to endure. Stick with it. Be faithful. Nothing can separate us, even if I ran away, 'cause your love never fails. I know I still make mistakes, but you have new mercy for me every day, 'cause your love never fails. You stay the same through the ages. Your love never changes. There may be pain in the night, but joy comes with the morning. And when the oceans rage, I don't have to be afraid, because I know that you love me. Your love never fails. The wind is strong and the water's deep. I'm not alone here in these open seas, 'cause you're